Hello friends, in this video I will talk about vector functions in R. Although in my previous videos I have told you about some of the functions which we are using to create vectors in R. In those functions, the first one is the C function, that is the concatenation function. Apart from that, there is a sequence function. Then we can use repeat function on vectors. So these are the three functions which we can use to create vector in R. Apart from that, there are certain other functions which we can use in R on vectors. Among those functions, the first one is the is.vector function. Then the next one is the as.vector function. Then we can use any function. We can use all function. We can use apply function, and lastly we can use apply function on vectors. So this way these are almost 8 to 9 functions which we can use on vectors. First three we can use for creating vectors and remaining we can use on created vectors. So now one by one I'll explain these functions with the help of examples. So the first function I'm talking about is the C function which we are using to create vector in R. So say for example here I have created a vector V with the help of C function, and I have kept or stored 3 elements inside the vector function vector V. Now when I'm printing V, so the output is 2, 4, 7. So this way, this is the C function. Now the second function if I'm talking about, that is the repeat function. So repeat function also we are using to create vector. So say for example, I want to repeat the elements of any vector. So for that I'm using the repeat function. Firstly, I have kept few elements in the repeat function which we want to keep in vector, and suppose if I want to repeat these elements 2 times, so I have kept 2 after comma. Now when I am pressing Ctrl Enter, it is executed successfully. Now I want to print it. So print V1 I have used here. Now I am pressing Ctrl Enter. So you can see the output is 235, 235. Now we want to repeat each element of my vector. So again, I can use the repeat function for it. So when I am printing it, so that way I have kept element 2 colon 4, that is I want to keep elements 2, 3, 4 inside V1, and I want to repeat each element of the vector V1. So that way we can see the output is 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. So this was the one way of repeating each element. Now if suppose we want to customize the repetition of the elements. Say for example, I want to print 2 suppose 4 times, and 3 suppose 1 time, and 4 suppose 3 times. That also we can do here with the help of times parameter inside the repeat function. So say for example, I am creating again my vector, and the name of vector is V. I am keeping the elements 2 is to 4. Now I am using times parameter, and now I'm specifying how many times I want to print or repeat 2, how many times I want to repeat 3, how many times I want to repeat 4. So now I'm pressing Control Enter. No error I am getting. Now when I will print V, so we will be able to see the output. It is 222334. That way we can repeat any elements as many times as we want with the help of times parameter inside the repeat function. Now we can also use length dot out parameter inside the repeat function. So this particular length dot out parameter will repeat the vector until it reaches the specified length, even if the last repetition is incomplete. So say for example, now I'm telling you how we can use it. So again, I'm creating the vector V. Now I'm keeping inside it certain elements, and I am using length dot out equals suppose 8. Now I'm pressing Control Enter. No error I'm getting. I am printing V. So the output is 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2, and 3 is not coming because I have given the length of vector as 8. So only 8 elements are stored here in V. So that way this is known as the repeat function on vector. So now we will see sequence function on vector. So generally we are using sequence function to create vector in R. So here suppose I want to create a vector of the sequence 2.5 to 0.5, and I want to decrease this sequence by 0.2. Now I am pressing Control Enter. No error I am getting. Now I am printing V. So we can see the output. So this is the output which is giving us the sequence from 2.5 to 0.5, and this sequence is reducing by 0.2 to reach at 0.5. So that way we are using the sequence function. Now if I want to fix the length of the sequence or vector inside the sequence function, I can keep length dot out parameter. So I'll tell you how you can use that. So here you have to first create a vector using sequence. So say for example, I have written here 3.3. Then I have written here suppose 0.3. Then I'm using length dot out, and I'm specifying the length of my vector. Suppose I have written 10. Now I'm pressing Control Enter. No error we are getting. Now you can print it using print function. So the output is this. So that way we can also use length dot out function to specify the length of the vector. So this way we have talked about sequence function. Now we will go for the next function. So the next function is dot vector function. So the work of is dot vector function is it will take vector as an input and it will return us the logical values. So if we are keeping vector inside is dot vector function, it will return us true. But if we are keeping any other object inside is dot vector function, which is not a vector, it will return us false. So firstly, say for example, I am creating a vector, although we have already created, but for this function, again, I am creating one vector here. So it is a vector. Now I'm using is dot vector function here, and inside this I am passing the name of my vector, that is V, and I am pressing Control Enter to get the output. So we can see the return value is true. So the V is a vector considered in the R environment. Say for example, if I am creating here a variable A, now I'm using is dot vector and keeping here A in the function. So the output again is coming as true. So that means A is also considered as here the vector which is or which has stored only single value. So now, say for example, I have created a list using list function. Now it is executed when I'm using is.vector function and passing the name of my list L. So the output coming is true because list is also stored as vector inside the R environment. Now next we will talk about the next function, that is the as.vector function. So as.vector function converts any object into the vector. So say for example, I want to create a matrix using matrix function in R. Now you can see no error I am getting. So now I want to check whether this M is matrix or not. So I need to use here class function, and inside this you can see the M is matrix or array. That means it is not a vector. So if say for example I am using is dot vector on M, so we can see the output, it is giving us false. So now if I'm converting this matrix using s dot vector, so I have used here s dot vector, inside the parenthesis I have passed the name of my matrix. Now I am pressing Ctrl Enter. Successfully it is executed and it is giving me the value 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when I'll check whether this M is vector in R or not, so you can see the output when I'll press Ctrl Enter here, it is again giving me false. Why so? Because firstly, I need to store its value inside M. Now you can see it is done. Now when I'll press this, it is giving me true. So that way we can convert an object into the vector also, and the difference we can see in the output. Firstly, when I will run this, so you can see when I will print M, so the output would be like a matrix. But when I am converting it into the vector using s dot vector function, so you can see M now. So this way, the way of representation of element would be different. This for matrix, the output would be in the 2 dimensions, that is in the row and column. For the vector, it is 1 dimension. So we are getting all the elements into the single row. So that way, this is the s dot vector function in the R. Now we can see the next function, that is any function. So when I'm talking about any function takes a vector and a logical condition inside it as an argument. It checks the vector against the condition, and if any of the value is true against the condition, it returns us true, or else it gives us false. So say for example, firstly I'm creating a vector using C function. I am running this. No error I am getting. So now using any function, I want to check whether the stored value in V is greater than 25 or not. So it is giving me true. So any one of the value should be greater than 25. It will return us true, or else it will give us false. Similarly, we can use all function on any particular vector. So the work of all function is it will again take vector as an input and one logical condition, and it will check the each value of element against the condition, and if all the values are true against the condition, only then we will get the true, or else we will get false. See, for example, what I did, I have written here all function. Already we have created a vector V, and I'm checking all the values in V is greater than 25 or not. So it is returning me false because some of the values are less than 25 also. So this is the work of all function in R on vectors. Now we will see the next function, that is the lapply function. So lapply function takes a vector inside it and then it applies a function to all the elements of a vector and then it returns us the result into the list form. So for example, I have created a character vector. I am keeping some elements in this names vector, pressing Ctrl Enter. No error I am getting here. So now I want to convert all these cases. As you can see, R, M and G is written in the caps. I want to convert them into the small case. So I can pass here the name of my vector, that is names, and I want to use here to lower. So you can see what it did. It is converted capital letters into the small letters and it has written all the three names in the list form. Similarly, there is one more function, that is sapply, which we can use on vectors. So the work of sapply is it also takes the similar elements, that is the name of the vector it is taking and also taking the condition which we want to give, and then it returns us the result into the vector form only. So for example, I am creating here a character vector. This time I am keeping the case of all my names as uppercase. Now I am executing it, no error I am getting. Now I am using sapply function on names vector and I am writing here to lower. So I am asking R that keep the case as a small for my elements of names vector. Now I'm pressing Ctrl Enter. So you can see this is giving me this out. So that way, these are the some of the functions which we can use on vectors in R. So friends, I hope this video will help you to understand how we can use different functions on vectors in R. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay connected for more such videos in R. Thank you.